A question I'm often asked is, do you recommend buying cheap houses as rental properties in the 30 to 70,000 price range? And my answer is yes. And in this video, I'll give you several reasons why buying cheap houses where there's a demand can be a great investment, especially when you're first starting out as a landlord. Hi, I'm Andy Walker from Monoperty.com, and on this channel I'll share my experiences as a property investor and landlord, and also interview other investors so we can learn from their advice too. So if you're new here, consider subscribing for more videos like this. Now, there's a common misconception that the more expensive and more attractive a property, the more that can be charged for rent and the bigger return you'll receive. And that's simply not true. Cheap rental properties can make very good investments. Now, I've not bought a house in the 30 to 70,000 price range yet, but I plan to. And in fact, the cheapest property I have bought has been my best performing property. It's been a good, solid investment. It has never been vacant for more than 3 weeks in a year, and that's only happened once in the 14 years that I've owned it. And I've also seen some nice capital growth in that time too. I remember when I first viewed it, I wasn't that keen, but after listening to the letting agent about the demand in the area, I decided to go for it, and I'm so glad I did. By owning a cheap single unit property, you'll still gain experience as a landlord and investor. Also, depending on your approach, you may decide to look for one that requires some cosmetic work to bring it up to scratch, so you can add value before your first tenant moves in, and so you'll gain some experience with renovations as well. Some people say they're not going to make a significant income with a cheap rental property, and although that may be true when you compare it to a large HMO, you have to consider that smaller single family properties will require less capital to get started, less time to get up and running, and less time to be managed once a tenant is in situ. Typically, they're less of a headache. I would also add that your rental yield is likely to be better compared to buying a property in a city centre or a more expensive region. I have a video on calculating the rental yield and the return on investment up here, which you should watch if you're not familiar with these terms. Property investing is a long-term business, and businesses are all about cash flow. If your goal is to replace your salary from your current job in the future, then buying several cheap properties will help you reach that goal, providing you stay focused on the rental yield and cash flow, and not the potential for capital growth. Each property you buy will be a stepping stone to the next one, and your experiences of being both a landlord and investor will skyrocket. It makes sense, right? The more you purchase and hold, the more experiences you will gain. Recent research conducted by UPAD has shown that 2-bedroom properties for both houses and apartments bring in the best rental yield. And I know from experience that these types of properties are rented by key workers such as teachers, nurses, taxi drivers, both white and blue collar workers, who don't necessarily want to buy their own property, but want a nice place that they can call their home. Okay, so if you're a first-time investor, cheaper properties can really work for you for a number of reasons. Firstly, lending will be far easier. If you're looking to borrow 40,000 as opposed to 200,000, because when you start, there'll be fewer lenders available to you. Once you have some experience with owning a rental property and operating as a landlord, you will find that there'll be more lenders that will be willing to do business with you. There's a better chance that you'll be able to reduce your loan to value to increase your cash flow. If you have 30,000 to invest, for example, and you use that as a deposit on a 120,000 property, you will need a mortgage with a loan to value of 75%, and you'll find the interest you pay on your mortgage will be higher than if you used your 30,000 to purchase a 60,000 property and took out a mortgage with a 50% loan to value. Less capital will be required, but you'll still gain the experience of purchasing an investment, working with a mortgage broker and a solicitor, and operating as a landlord, as if you'd bought a more expensive property in a city centre or different region. If you have a sizable amount to invest, but you're not 100% sure if property is the right asset class for you, then a cheaper property will allow you to dip your toe in the water before you decide to go all in. Running costs will be cheaper, and I'm talking about buildings insurance as well as mortgage repayments and utility bills if you find yourself letting the property with bills included. Cheaper properties won't cost as much to fix compared to more expensive ones. You'll gain experience of solving and fixing problems, and any mistakes you make won't be as costly compared to the bigger, more expensive properties. There's also a good chance that a cheaper rental will not be near where you live, which will force you to look for a good managing agent and then allow you to put it at the back of your mind once it's up and running, so you can focus on your normal routine and enjoy the passive income that it brings. Experience with working with a letting agent is good to have, in my opinion. I think that cheap rental properties are a great way to start as a landlord and shouldn't be overlooked. Start as soon as possible, buy cheap, gain some experience, and start to build your empire and your legacy whilst providing a good service to your customers. Over to you. Have you bought cheap property? Are you thinking of buying a cheap property as your first investment? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll also be happy to answer any questions you might have. Please like and share if you found this video useful, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already so you won't miss my future videos, which will all be geared towards helping you start or improve your property business. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.